So I want to tell a little story. There was a Sunday school teacher, and she had given a lesson on respect and the importance of listening to people when they're speaking. And so to kind of anchor this lesson in, she decided to ask a question to the kids as they were on their way into the sanctuary for part of the service. And she asked, "And why are we quiet in church?" And one little girl replied, "So that we can hear the singing better." And the teacher shook her head. "That's not the main reason." And a young boy answered, "Because God wants us to listen." And the teacher shook her head again. "That's not quite right." I know, said one little boy, "because most everyone is sleeping." I hope they aren't sleeping in this place, but I suspect many of us are tired. So just in case, let's keep things down so those that need to rest can catch a few winks. So here we are, we're kind of smack dab in the middle of December. Arguably, what is it? The busiest time of year for most of us. I know it is for me. There are functions here at the center. Maybe you have neighborhood gatherings or work gatherings or holiday festivities to participate in, shopping to do, food to prepare, and for many folks, friends and family to entertain, or at least to visit at some point. So pretty typical for many people in our culture right now, and I'm no exception. I've got a lot going on. I'm sure you do too. But maybe that's not your experience this time of year. I know some of you may be grieving the loss of something substantial at this time, or perhaps you've had an unexpected change that you're grappling with, and maybe you aren't feeling it this year. Maybe you never enjoy this time of year, and all of that is okay. All of that's okay. Regardless of what's going on for you, what do? We come here together to get some love, from each other, to lean into remembering our spiritual identity, to hear some inspiration, hopefully, if everyone's quiet enough and listening, and maybe get a few hugs, snacks and coffee and some hot chocolate, a free mug. You just never know what you're going to find. I don't know about you, but I need to be with you. I need to be with you on a regular basis when my life is in a tizzy, as it is right now. Soak all this goodness, into my soul. It's a long month, 31 whole days, right? And there's another thing that helps me navigate the month of December, emotionally and spiritually, and that is music. So it's no secret. If you've been around here more than a minute, you know that music is very important to me spiritually. It just is. It's a part of my life, especially during this time of year. But I have a firm rule. There is to be no holiday music played in my house or my car until the day after Thanksgiving, and it stops abruptly at midnight on the 25th, right? Music is a year-long part of my life, but there's a particular pieces of music that I can only hear just during this little winter, right? And I think it's because music just kind of gets me into certain headspaces, and holiday music for me just can't be thrown around willy-nilly any time of the year. That's just for me, right? So my talk title is, What Shall You Sing? What shall you sing? And when I say the word sing, I'm not meaning literally singing, since many of you, I know, do not enjoy singing. But more generically, I mean, what vibration are you sending forth from yourself? Because you are always singing. Trust me, you're always singing. So here's my question for you today. What intention do you have for yourself for the next couple of weeks? What intention do you have for yourself? In 10 days or so, it's all going to be over. So I'm curious if you have set an intention for yourself. Have you made a decision about who you will be over the course of the next several days? Have you set an intention of how you want to close out the year? No? Let's do it now. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable, or just glance down. Just bring your attention to this moment right here, right now. Breathe and relax. And now in your mind's eye, I want to see yourself navigating the next 2 weeks. Just imagine yourself going through the things that you know are on your calendar. Maybe there are work days, maybe there are parties, shopping, extra things, Just imagine yourself out in public in the hustle and bustle of this season. And now picture yourself alone in your own space, in your quiet place. And as you get a clear sense of the next few days, ask yourself, what do I want to feel inside myself as all of this is unfolding? What do I want to feel? If I were living my best self through all of it, how do I want to describe myself each day? Who do I intend to be? See if you can boil it down to one word. Maybe you intend to be and feel joy. Maybe you desire this sense of peace. Maybe you want to be a channel for love, or maybe it's another word altogether. Just try to get a word. How do I want to be? And then come back to this room. What would happen if you vibrated as your chosen word for the next 10 days? What would happen? Because we're always emitting a vibration from us out into the world around us. What would happen if you emitted as your intention? So I bet most of you narrowed your word down to one of the God qualities, I'm going to guess, right? So raise your hand. How many of you wanted joy, wanted to feel joy? How about peace? More peace, right? How about love? Just harmony, connection, balance. Any of those words ring true? Most of those are aspects of spirit. And we want those, not only this time of year, but always. See, because no matter what's going on around you, spirit is within you. The word that you crave is already who you are. The question is, can you stay anchored in your centeredness throughout the day? Can you let your highest self shine through you, no matter who is with you, no matter what you are asked to do, no matter how the conversation turns, no matter what? The question is, can you sing that no matter what anyone else is singing? Ralph Waldo Emerson was a big influence on Ernest Holmes. He wrote this. He said, every person, that means every one of you, every person is an inlet and may become an outlet to all there is in God. He declares that you are, without question, an inlet to all God is, and if we are mindful, we can also be an outlet of that same goodness, of Godness. When we sing, we're letting out what is inside of us. So what shall you sing? It's important to know what you're singing, because the law of reciprocation, or the law of circulation, says that what we send out from ourselves does what? Comes back. It comes back. If you emitted love and peace and joy and harmony, wouldn't it be amazing to feel that flowing back to you throughout this time, right? Ernest Holmes says, since there is but one Spirit, and this Spirit is in you and in everything, then everywhere you go, you will meet this Spirit. You will meet this Spirit in people, in places, and in things. He says you meet the Spirit in people, in places, and things. I don't know about you, but sometimes it's hard to see Spirit in all the places I go, and the things I do and see, and the people I meet. But what I do know is that if I'm right with myself, if I'm centered, if I'm anchored in, it's a hell of a lot easier to see Spirit in the people, places, and things when I'm right inside myself. See what I'm saying? Right? You know, it's easy to sing our spiritual song, our little song of joy and peace and love and all that when we're with each other, right? Yeah. Susan and I were talking about this the other day, a few weeks ago. When we spend time with each other, we can stay so positive. We can stay so positive. We see the solutions. We see the miracles and the power of prayer. We can witness the goodness in all the people we meet when we walk into a shop or a restaurant. These people are so lovely. We can feel joy and peace in each other's presence. It's so easy to be together. Rumi, the Sufi mystic and poet, he's an Islamic scholar from the 13th century. He knew exactly what Susan and I were talking about with each other. He wrote this: there are some who see me by the same light in which I am seeing them. Our natures are one. Without reference to any strands of lineage, without reference to texts or traditions, we drink life water together. Look around the room. You are looking at people who drink your life water with you. You see each other in the same light, the light of spirit, the light of love. You probably sing very similar songs to the people in the room, right? It's easy to keep singing your spirit song when you're with someone drinking your life water. Right? One of the most challenging things about the holidays is that most of us have expectations all going on in our lives that have us doing things we don't do other times of year. Most of us are spending time with people we see very infrequently. And many of us are comparing, as Derek's saying, what we're doing with the social media highlight reel of others. And we feel like we aren't doing what everyone else is doing. Those are the very things that make singing our spirit songs quite a bit challenging. It's hard to keep singing your song of joy and peace and love when the song being sung around you is very different. Many people you love may sing fearful songs or judgment songs. They may have a hard time understanding optimism and optimistic singing. You know, maybe you hear a lot of judgment in conversations around you this time of year, and it tends to drown out your intention of peace. Maybe your song of light and love has a hard time staying lit in the darker rooms that you may go into over the next 10 days. The thing is that we're all intertwined together. We have shared lives. There's a Buddhist teaching by Wayne Teasdale that says all beings in moment-to-moment life are conditioned by every other being. Everyone and everything arises together and so are inherently interdependent. Individuals are not isolated selves, souls, or egos doing their own thing or following their own projects for happiness. Wayne Teasdale. We are inherently interdependent. That means we impact each other. As we walk our path and follow what he calls projects for happiness, I love that. So if your friends and relatives are singing very different songs from you, how do you keep yourself centered in the midst of everything going around you and have a positive interconnectedness with them? I think we have a better chance of staying true to our own song or our own vibration if we returned ourselves to it every day, right? So you know I sing in a choral group, so most of you know that I sing in a choir. How many of you have sung or played an instrument with other people? Oh, good, a lot of people. I'm gonna get y'all singing. Okay, one of the skills you've got to develop when you do group music is the ability to stick to your own part, right? You got to learn your song and sing it while everyone else is learning their song and singing their part. It's hard at first, especially when your part doesn't fit very well with other parts. You almost have to block out the other parts until you have yours mastered so well that no one can drag you off your note or your line. And then you can start listening to what's going on around you and fit your part with everyone else's, and everybody starts to harmonize and blend together. It's so cool. But everyone's singing their own song. It's a balance to be yourself and to be interdependent with others. And I think it's the same with life. It's critically important that you do you, no matter what else is going on around you and what others may be singing, no matter how dissonant their sound or their note may be to yours. And as I said, it's easy to sing with each other right here because our notes are in tune with each other. The songs we sing fit together pretty well, don't they? Right? But the reason the holidays can be stressful is because when we're around people who sing very differently than we do, we feel challenged. If we haven't practiced our song enough, we can be pulled off into notes that we would rather not sing. So how do we practice? Let's get back to your word, okay? Since music is a wonderful tool to use to practice certain emotional or spiritual vibrations, let's identify some music that evokes your word for you. Let me give you an example. Let's use the word peace because each and every one of us needs to feel some inner peace right now. Whatever your word was, let's just pile peace on top of it, okay? Let's identify some music, some songs that may evoke the sense of peace in you. For example, my everyday songs for peace would be songs like Imagine by John Lennon. It just kind of settles me into peace. Or how about that song, Michael Jackson's song, Heal the World? Oh, it's just such a beautiful reminder of peace, peace. And there are many spiritual songs that are centered in peace, namely, Let There Be Peace on Earth. And we sing that sometimes to close a service. Our opening chant, We Are One, We Are One. That's a song for peace. And then there are some holiday songs too that kind of evoke that sense of peace to me. Like Silent Night and Away in the Manger. Those just center me in this peaceful thing. And the song Josh sang the other night, Mary, Did You Know? That is such a peaceful song to me. Someday I'm going to do a whole lesson on metaphysics of holiday songs. I gotta admit that many holiday songs challenge me, or they're a little tricky theologically to me, right? But it's the music itself that brings that feeling and vibration of peace within. And your song's choices are going to be different than mine, but take some time to make a list that evokes that feeling of peace, right? Maybe your word was love. All of us can identify some songs that make us feel that love feeling inside of us. You know, the holiday song that makes me feel love inside of me is Silver Bells. And I know that sounds crazy, but Silver Bells reminds me of my grandmother. I can remember it playing in her car as a little girl, or little Chevy Nova. And I'm sitting there listening and she's singing Silver Bells. And it reminds me of her, and that brings up love for me. Love is all I feel. It probably wouldn't be too hard to think of some songs that make you feel joy too. Joy is a good one. The point is, music is a shortcut to get into a vibration that I want to emit into the world. So stop before you go into a sticky situation and play a song to center yourself. Have it ready for you. Sit in your car a minute and listen. Music strengthens the inlet of spirit for me so that I can have a better shot at being an outlet for it into the life around me. Wherever I go, God is. May that shine through me. Music reminds me of my own note, my own part, so that I can keep singing no matter what anyone else may be singing. Joseph Mazzella, he's a writer, director, and producer. He shared his experience of music shifting his inner world. He wrote, it's not a quote, Rebecca, don't panic. He wrote this. He said, it was late November. The trees that had been covered with lovely leaves just a few weeks earlier were now stark, skinny sticks trying to ride out the winter to come. The sun had become scarce as the dark nights lengthened, but today it was totally gone. Gray, gloomy clouds covered the sky, a cold wind blew, and a chilly rain was falling steadily. I was driving slowly behind a tractor trailer that was throwing up huge waves of water on my windshield. In addition to this storm, it seemed like my life was having a lot of bad weather as well. My clothes dryer had died the day before, and ordering a new one had taken another nasty bite out of my savings. It was only the latest in a long line of things tearing up, wearing out, and needing replaced during the last 2 years. I always had just enough to keep going, but not much more than that. As I drove along, though, I wasn't crying or pouting or worrying. Instead, I was singing along to one of my favorite songs on the radio. I was smiling into the grayness and thanking God for my family, my life, and all the blessings in it. I was using this latest problem to remind myself that my real riches weren't in my bank account, but in my heart and soul. I was finally living the lesson that it had taken me most of my life to learn. It doesn't matter what life gives you. What matters is what you give to life. Life gives all of us good weather and bad. Life gives us all sunshine and rain. Life gives us all joy and pain. It's up to us, though, to soak up the sun and let the rain wash away our tears. It's up to us to use this life to let our love grow deeper, our hearts grow kinder, and our souls grow stronger. It's up to us to share our love, to give our kindness, and to shine our light on fair days and foul. End quote. Here's the deal. Life is going to give you amazing experiences between now and the end of the year. There's going to be joy and pain, good weather and bad, obviously, sunshine and rain, fun and struggle, all of it. Your job is to share your love, give your kindness, and shine your light and sing your song. And I'm going to close with this beautiful invitation from Hafiz, another Sufi poet, who writes of love. He writes, I want both of us to start talking about this great love, helping each other to cook, do the wash, and care for our beautiful animals. I want both of us to start singing like two traveling minstrels about this extraordinary existence we share, as if you, I, and God were all married and living in a tiny room. This holiday season, for the next 2 weeks, imagine you and God and everyone you encounter are married and living in a tiny room. See if you can keep singing. Whatever you're doing together, whether you're doing the dishes or cooking or caring for animals and children or whatever, sing together, literally or figuratively, about this extraordinary existence that you are sharing. And no matter what, sing your song of peace and love and joy, your song of intention, no matter what, and come together here so we can surround each other in harmony as we drink life water together. Will you pray with me? Oh, just take that inside. That goodness that is God, that goodness that is life, that's my goodness, my peace, my joy, my love. And I know that's the truth of each one hearing these words. Deep within each one of us is a divine spark. We are an inlet to God, and each one is an outlet to God. And so I know for each one listening, the opportunity to draw to themselves the situations, people, places, and things that allow them to sing peace, love, joy, harmony, whatever the word is. And that Spirit holds that intention and meets us. Whatever we're looking for is looking for us. I give great thanks. I'm thankful for each one here, for each one who's a part of this spiritual family. And with that heart of gratitude, I just let it go and let it be. And so it is.
And so it is.
Peace, praying.